insidious tyranny, government cover-ups, outright lies and blind deceptions, enemies of the state, corruption at the highest levels, alien deceptions, flat earth conspiracies, wars and rumors of wars. What's next? Where have all the truth in media gone? We will stand our ground here with the truth. Come join us on www.kdov.us for the latest in ground-shaking news and Bible prophecy. Greetings, hello, my name is Mars. I am the host of the Watcher's Prophecy News on KW Radio, America's best Christian radio. Wherever you may be, understand I am no man but me. I'm not a clone, I'm not a zombie, nor am I a fool to come here tonight and expressly enlighten you to the truth. We are a private social media think tank of the most elite thinkers on the end times ever. We would like you to come join our 19-year-old society. May be found under the search term on Facebook, Watchers Society. Listen to us every Saturday night here on KW Radio. And I wish to thank all of my listeners for coming tonight. It seems to me that even the smallest of us, me included, have been seeing parts of revelations unfolding that are such a quandary of various messages from all over for the preparations of something very big indeed. Perhaps it is the time that they wish to disrupt the presidential race. Perhaps an alien disclosure spoken of this week by John McCain that Foo Fighters may show up to the election. Clear reference to aliens that few seem to notice. Or that President Obama even talked to the UN Commission on Strong Cities Network in private with no disclosure for over 30 minutes just after his UN speech. Or the revelation that China's huge space station may come down right over downtown Los Angeles in rush hour in less than a few months' time. Or could it even be an announcement that some are very worried about, that TEPCO has found the ice wall melted and that Core 3 has now indeed fell into the ocean as feared? What might this shocking revelation be that throws part of the U.S. political system into such a nosedive? Could be any number of different things, including these false flag terror attacks on America lately, blamed upon white supremacists or Muslims, or a real national security crisis that unfolds in the next few weeks that causes Trump or Clinton, or even both campaigns, to adjust their political rhetoric. They also may bring up the possibility of a global war breaking out with Russia. All of these things, evil and bad, that seem to be constantly on the arise in the entropy system, the devil's endgame, now closer at hand than any could imagine. War talk with China, now on a limited naval war for the disputed islands. That's actually in the works. Or maybe an invasion of North Korea, now even in the planning stages. We have been giving many indications over the past several years that preparations are indeed taking place on the highest levels for a total crackdown upon this country. Conspiracy theorist, radio show talk host, including me, have all feared the coming days in which they will come fully deployed to take our very freedoms away. Prepping now seems to be completely out of control for most. The annual household budget for prepping now is itemized on almost everyone's list of things to go get. There is the implementation of soon coming martial law. Political chaos erupts in October after this information, these revelations are released by WikiLeaks and others that is so damaging to the Clinton campaign that she has no choice but to drop out of the race. Or should some other event happen that throws everything into complete mayhem? Might Obama declare martial law to deal with the chaos that unfolds and then usher in strong cities as the solution? Well, we're going to move on to some of the finer details in which will lead us into the topic of tonight's show. It is about faith in the Lord God. It's going to take me a while to get there because I want you to understand the things that are currently going on that should lead you to prayer over our nation in the sake of our country. Now, Obama at the United Nations this week made a strong, definite call for America to be bound by all international law and give up control and completely throw away our Constitution. Completely throw it away, calling it damaging. That's it! We may be a basket of deplorables and we have a damaging Constitution, but I tell you what, I for one can raise my hand and say proudly that I have sworn an oath to that Constitution. Some of the ways Obama told the United Nations that America is falling short. In America, there is too much money in politics. There is also too much entrenched partisanship. That's when the good old boys club all get together and go against Obama. Can't stand that. Too few Americans are civilly engaged. That's because we're too busy prepping, Mr. Obama, because we're scared of you. A patchwork of laws in America set out to make it hard for Americans to vote. Really? But it's really simple how we have instituted the vote in these small Arab countries where they just dip their finger in purple dye and declare they have voted. We can't seem to do that here. We might consider our founding ideas. America has made our share of mistakes over these last 25 years, he complains. The only way the world will become secure is for powerful nations like America to accept constraints. Really? We're only going to become powerful if we put the handcuffs on. For believing that all countries must adhere to certain international normals. Many Americans criticize Obama. Too many in Washington believe all the problems in the world can be solved by Washington. Really? Well, I don't know, but a famous president once said, the buck stops here. Apparently, that buck slides right on by with Obama. As president, he's helped curb America's excesses of capitalism. America has undermined unions, which has destroyed manufacturing jobs. In calling for greater respect and tolerance, Obama also linked radical discrimination in the United States to ethnic discrimination in Burundi and other religious discrimination in Burma, comparing us to third world nations that care nothing about freedom or have no such documents that their nation are based upon. As I've said before, this man is an Indonesian imposter. a true Imam Obama. I've also said many, many times that our military generals need to arrest Obama and take him out of our White House before he destroys our country. Now, Obama is making faster progress through the UN than he is through our own Senate. Today, he has been telling the UN, even in phone calls, now that his speech is long over, that he wants to take our freedoms, remove our very sovereignty to be controlled by all international laws, plus give more freedoms to Islamics by ignoring them, just importing them here to the United States to make nice. He wants us to give up control of our internet by October 1st and having the UN deploy its own police force with automatic weapons January 1st in strong cities. We see clearly that the effort is to finally let the UN operate on our own soil and then let them, once doing so, engage in slowly eroding the very rights of our nation, like the First and Second Amendments. Why isn't someone stopping this man? Well, if they don't stop him soon, we will have a terrible war in our country started by the Islamic Muslim Obama. I fully predict there will be riots on the streets over Muslims and nothing else. This is probably why he is having the UN military tanks and armory move right into various parts of our country. This is being established now at 121 locations around the United States, just for the United Nations Strong Cities Network. So he and the UN can fight and kill Americans who want to stop this ungodly beast tyranny. He's forming a limit on the types of firearms that Americans can purchase. Soon it will be cap guns. It will be masked in the United Nations Small Arms Treaty that he has embraced so fondly. It is currently written as a way to prevent drug traffickers from being allowed to illegally purchase heavy weapons and small arms, yet the largest pusher of illegal drugs in the world happens to be an arm of the American government. Larger than any Mexican cartel. Those are a joke. The word small arms is included in the treaty and is most likely used to describe handguns, shotguns, and small caliber rifles even. I talked with some friends at the NRA this week, and they've told me that this treaty threatens individual firearm ownership, even if you have bought your weapons long ago and just keep them around your house, that they plan on coming door to door once Strong Cities is deployed. The UN will gradually upheave any of their own arguments for the world to keep guns and place those very restrictions upon you and I. It is a massive invasion registration scheme, and it's full of regulations and requirements that are blatant attacks on the Constitution. Every law-abiding American must wake up, and wake up now. Write your congressman. Tell him that, look, you may call me a quack, you may call me paranoid, you may call me a conspiracy nut, but you know, I fear the UN is coming to take our guns. What are you doing about this? And if we get enough people to say these things, he mentioned this treaty does, in part, by urging record keeping of the end result users, directly importing countries to provide information to a exporting country regarding firearm transfers, including in-use and in-use documentation, for a minimum of 10 years, the NRA has told me. Now, what that means is that if you buy a gun here in the United States, in Germany, or Pakistan, or India, or China, or anywhere else in this world, they will have a record of that purchase as well, and will know that you own that gun on the other side of the world. Now, you think about that for a moment. When the United Nations deploys here at home. This is all bad, folks. All bad. We need to vote Trump quickly into office. He may be a hardcore narcissist, but I would rather have a narcissist in office than Obama any day of the week. At least he will attempt to overturn everything Obama has done. Got to do something before it is too late. Let's switch gears a moment. There's more on the world stage. Hillary Clinton has said that Americans must deny their faith through the enforcement of laws by stating that the Christian belief in being pro-life or the Christian belief of prayer, and anti-abortion even must change. That's right, Hillary Clinton wants you to stop praying. What kind of demons want you to stop praying? Now, you think about that for a whole minute when you mention the word Hillary Clinton and put her on your lips, that she is the woman that wants you to stop praying. And that this will be done through laws and through political will. That's right out of her mouth. If Christians must change Christian teachings in regards to abortion, then what Hillary Clinton is essentially saying is that Christians must deny their very faith. Hillary Clinton, speaking at the Woman in the World Summit on April 23. By the way, that audience was made mostly out of Eastern Star participants, by the way. Women in the World Summit, April 23rd. She made a statement. Far too many women are denied access to reproductive health care. Really? I can buy a condom in any bathroom in any service station in the United States of America. But for Hillary Clinton, too many women are denied access to reproductive health care. Too many pregnancies and safe childbirth. And laws don't count for much if they're not enforced. Rights have to exist in practice, not just on paper. In other words, she's willing to come in and have all these things enforced. Laws have to be backed up with resources and political will. And deep-seated cultural codes, religious beliefs, and structural biases have to change. She's telling me my religious beliefs have to change, that abortion is just fine, that it's okay to kill unborn babies. She can get out of here! Because she's not going to be my president. I don't care if she sneaks into office or not. These people who have said, oh, well, if Trump gets elected, I'll move to Jamaica. Let me tell you what, if Hillary gets elected, I'm moving to Canada. Notice that she says that the change of Christian belief is the unfinished business of the 21st century. It's the unfinished business of the 21st century that we must change our Christian belief. It's right out of Hillary Clinton's mouth. You wonder why God has her so sick right now, because he's sick of her. Which means she wants to persecute Christians at large. These days are coming. They have multiple plans. If one plan doesn't succeed, they've got another person with another plan, and behind him, another person with another plan. These plans are concentric. They are everywhere. They are minions of evil waiting to come at us one after the other. Hillary believes with all her heart and soul, so stated, that it's okay to kill a full-term baby just minutes before it's born should the mother change her mind. You think about that. All of you women who have given birth should know the utter joy and excitement after it is concluded, having a newborn baby in your arms. And yet Hillary says that it's okay to kill your full-term baby just minutes before it's born, and that she will enforce this with both political will and law and the muscle to get it done. She is a monster in pantsuits, is what she is. She speaks of protecting women's rights, yet she accepts millions of dollars for her slush fund charity from the most barbaric despots on the planet. Muslims who care less about her, but only want to advance the global paradigm. These barbaric individuals that have donated to Hillary torture, rape, and kill young women as part of their religion. Hillary and Bill Clinton are brazen evil and deplorable grifters. That's right, she is a grifter, who will stop at nothing in their very greedy quest to have both power and dominion over the people. Now I'm going to tell you what, you better be ready. You see now very clearly why so many people are prepping. The world's got to see the actual state of Hillary Clinton's health this past Sunday, a week back. And oh brother, it was to me a real doozy. The best part was watching elements of the mainstream media being forced to admit the conspiracy theory people were actually right. I was right, folks, when I told you she was sick. I was right, folks, when I told you she was mentally insane. I was right when I told you she had a tumor in her head that was growing. Of course, we usually are right. We do our homework here. So just a few days after the world watched Hillary and her crazy Parkinson's schizoid episode, her poll numbers have now tanked. They have went down. They have went down south. This giving Trump a 5-point lead in almost every state, and it's climbing. Trump is surging. She can definitely stick that in her basket of deplorables and smoke it, as far as I'm concerned, right in the middle of downtown Colorado. Only Hillary Clinton was caught lying to Congress. Only Hillary Clinton was fired from a job for being unethical, a job, by the way, which she had to take an oath to obtain. Many of you, that doesn't mean much, but I'm a Quaker man. Oaths are very special things. Only Hillary Clinton ordered the deletion of over 30,000 emails. Of course, Richard Nixon only covered up 10 minutes of tape, and, his wife told him that he had to go. And so he resigned over 10 minutes of simple magnetic recording. But 30,000 emails, these days, they don't mean anything because we're so numb to the tyranny. Doesn't mean anything. Nobody's going to bother to read 30,000 emails, she feels. And after it was ordered to hand over the server containing them to the feds, she erased it. Clearly given the order herself. Only Hillary Clinton got the rapist of a teenage girl who brutally raped this girl, got him completely off on these rape charges and then laughed about it during an interview on national television that her ethics are pure. Really? That's pure demonic ethics if you want to ask me. Only Hillary Clinton lied to the American people about Benghazi, that there weren't any murders there. Nobody got hurt there in that country. Only Hillary Clinton lied to the American people about her emails, contents thereof. Only Hillary Clinton lied about her being under sniper fire after landing in Bosnia when she landed in an American zone almost 20 miles around. Only Hillary Clinton lied about actually lying to the American people. She's lied about lying! Takes me back to when I was a young child and learning my own lessons about lying and how that one lie led to another lie, led to another lie. Well, she never learned that lesson. She never had her behind tore up. She was spared the rod, and she is the spoiled child. Only Hillary Clinton was involved in the cash cow slush fund of Saudi Arabian donors. Hey, $60 million, man. I mean, you know, sometimes us Americans struggle to eat, but it's okay to be involved in a $60 million scam and then run for the White House. Only Hillary Clinton nationally belittled her husband's sexual harassment and rape of her accusers. That's right. Women that have taken her place sexually went and misaligned those women. What kind of woman would do that? Most women would immediately bash their husbands and leave him over the rape and accusations thereof. But not Hillary. She embraced all this. It just kept feeding her to the top because, as demons do, they love controversy, they love evil, they love enslavement, they love sexual belittlement, sexual harassment, and rape, and all these other things that she so laughs at. Since the time of the gentleman's release that she got off for rape, he went and raped a 9-year-old girl, killing her. That blood is on Hillary's hands! Only Hillary Clinton is a career politician. That's right, she's career, buddy. Only Hillary Clinton will not release her speeches to Goldman Sachs and other banks. Really? Only Hillary Clinton is tied to Monsanto. That's right, because they gave her $1 million bill for the head of Monsanto to come and eat dinner with her and Bill one night privately in the White House. And shortly thereafter, a controversial chemical has been sprayed all over the world now, given White House approval, and killed almost every single honeybee on Earth. Only Hillary Clinton is labeled extremely careless about the national security of the FBI. FBI has labeled her a national security threat and called her, quote, this is the FBI. Now, if the FBI came to me and said, oh, you're extremely careless, well, I could care less because I'm an ordinary citizen. But if I was running for the highest office in the land, would you want your leader to be called extremely careless by the FBI? Only Hillary Clinton said she will raise taxes on the middle class. Just the middle class. Not the rich, not the poor, but just the middle class. The middleman. Surprising, right? Should watch that speech. Only Hillary Clinton benefited from the DNC rigging an election. That was a complete farce, done explicitly by foreign governments, paid for exclusively by the Clinton Foundation. Hillary Clinton had to return stolen items from the White House. Do you think about that? We're going to be the president's wife in the White House for all those years, and if we see something we like hanging on the wall, we'll just put it in our purse and not say anything about it. We want her for president, don't forget. Only Hillary Clinton said the Benghazi victims' parents were lying. That's right. She didn't blame her own actions. She said the victims' parents were responsible. Look it up. Only Hillary Clinton wants you to vote for her based upon her gender. What gender is she? She's for transgenderism. We don't even know. She's got things hanging on her side and out of her belly and on her pants leg and between her legs. We don't even know what she is. She's probably a reptilian. Only Hillary Clinton has been investigated by the FBI and found out to have put national security at risk. Even Richard Nixon was not investigated by the FBI. Think about that. Only Hillary Clinton made Congress and others spend millions and millions, 60 million, same price as her Arab sponsors gave her, to have massive hearings and investigations that are daily costing taxpayers even more money to find out if she lied, that she miraculously seems to care less about. That money is just wasted in the wind. She's blamed everyone but herself. That money would have not been spent if she would have simply told the truth in the first place. All these things are facts. Only Hillary Clinton regularly cussed out and belittled her Secret Service detail, people that are sworn to protect me. Now, I don't know about you, but if the government gave me private bodyguards and said, hey, for the rest of your life, you're going to be safe and secure, I wouldn't be cussing them out. But are you going to vote for her because you don't like Donald Trump? That's insane! I will never understand how any moral person in good conscience could vote for this woman that is so blatantly evil. Stowed items right off the White House wall to put in her purse before she left. That's got to tell you something right there, folks. That's the same as just, shoplifting at Walmart. She's a common criminal. But come on now. Hillary would never tell a lie or betray the trust of American people. As everyone knows, she must be contracted some never-before-seen rare strain of pneumonia, which was caused by Parkinson's disease. How can one person lie so much, get caught, then get away with it as many times, have so many murders, over 60 murders now, 60 murders of close friends and her that are so close, just go to yourself. And I mentioned this, I got a lot of comments from this last time I said this in the show, but the average person, if even once in their lifetime had one close friend that was murdered, the police would be all over that, all over them. They would be interviewed. It would just be like another case of Criminal Minds on television. Police know how they operate. People know how the police operate. But it's beyond me that she can somehow manage to escape with 60 people, a blood trail, so long behind her of close friends and acquaintances, DNC chairs, cabinet members, close personal friends, people that had gotten the dope on her, each and last one, about to expose her, the thing they all had in common, motive out the yin-yang. But good thing. It's a good thing she doesn't have a nose like Pinocchio, or it would reach Mars by now. At least she'll win the Guinness Book of world's records for lying, hands down. Hopefully in 50 years, when you look up the word liar, her picture will be right beside it. I even remember the time she lied about her own name. Now, folks, you can't even get any more stupid than this. But this is true. Go look it up. I've done my homework. You can't even make this stuff up. During an interview, she announced that she was named after Sir Edmund Hillary, the first man to climb to the top of Mount Everest. Except there's one slight problem with her story. You see, Sir Edmund Hillary didn't reach the top of the mountain until Hillary was 6 years old. I forget how she slithered away out of that one. But she did. Just like the 60 murders, just like the 60 million, just like 666 for everything she does. She really ought to start showing up to this new group I have heard about called Pathological Liars Anonymous. Getting some real help. Looks like Obama, the other pathological liar, the one in the White House, has taught his puppet very well. Or maybe it's the other way around. Just recently, Obama has once again proven himself to be a seasoned liar just as well as her when he denied the entire world that $4 million times 10, that's 400 million, or did it turn out to be 1.3 billion? I forget. He sent to his terrorist buddies in Iran was in fact a ransom payment. That hasn't come out really yet. People have said a little bit of this about it, a little bit of that about it. I'm going to tell you what, that was a ransom payment. For what? It's about to come out. Don't worry. It's coming soon on the Watcher's Prophecy News. I don't forget these lies. I don't forget this blind tyranny. I don't forget these exacting Democrats who believe with all their heart that they are above the law. No one is above the law. Whatever the case may be, the Bible, the very last word on any subject, is clear that you reap what you sow. Clintons have a lifelong history of lying to the public and escaping every sort of justice imaginable. And now you get the understanding when I tell you when Trump said 2 weeks ago that she could get away with murder, she could blatantly take a gun outright in the middle of public, shoot someone, and get clean away with it. He wasn't talking outside of his mouth. Do you understand? This man was telling you the facts. She is an escaper of justice. My father always said, when you do nasty, nasty comes back. Comes back on you. It's called karma. Looks like Hillary Clinton's lies and deceit are finally catching up with her. Every Christian who has even a shred of national pride and values their faith at all must fast and pray that Donald Trump becomes our next commander-in-chief. Our country's future is at stake like never before. And this very well may be our country's, our nation's last chance for redemption. A hold, a break, a reprieve on God's judgment over our land because of the righteous praying. Can only hope that Hillary is found out. But she believes that through all these scandals, there's so many of them that no one could ever figure them all out. Nobody. She is a insidious monster, and maybe climate change is not faring very well on her reptilian system. Now, seriously, Trey Gowdy and others are looking deeply, perhaps seriously, for the very first time. You would think it would be the second or third or 15th or umpteenth millionth time, into real live perjury charges for Hillary. That's true. It's up on the Hill now. Memos circulating around. In Hillary Clinton's email scandal, for example, as new reports on Tuesday document that an aide apparently has asked the online community about the best process for stripping IDs from archived emails under her direct orders. That's perjury. She said right out she had nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. Even talk radio icon Rush Limbaugh immediately credited the Reddit community for discovery of what he called the smoking gun on Hillary's email deletion. They are trapping her. The best trappers yet, and America's known, our roots go deep back in hunting and trapping and fishing and all of our other various rights that have been sold back to us, particularly by the Clintons. And these very people are now hunting her. She's sick. It's time to ball up and face the music. Fall down, one of the two. Apparently, someone working for IT for Hillary went to Reddit and asked Redditors if any of them knew how to do this. Do you know how to strip or remove content from very VIP emails? This request was made July 24th, 2014, the congressman said Tuesday, and was a clear perjury. Do you know what happened? You know what happened the day before? On July 23rd, 2014, a congressional committee chaired by Trey Gowdy himself confirmed a deal to get Hillary Clinton's records and emails. She's being hunted. After that is when someone from her IT team, the very next day, is it not even suspected, it's the truth, got a hold of Reddit and said, is there anyone here that can tell us how to mass in bulk these hundreds of thousands of emails and delete the headers and remove the content of these very VIP emails? Now, Trey is filing on her. I'm very proud of him for that. The other things I'm not so proud of, but I'm proud of that. Claims were outlined by Guy Benson at Town Hall. The Trump camp may for sure in this first debate bring up these very things. So be prepared, be watching. Trump is going to pull out his Trump card. You're going to see. What astounded me also this week is that Bernie Sanders, let's get on Bernie for a minute, because as evil as he is, said something that will probably boggle your mind, dear listener. He is, of course, as you know, a leftist socialist, and said, I quote, "There will be no First Amendment rights or any of the Bill of Rights left after Hillary Rodham Clinton becomes the 45th President of the United States of America. Communism will be imposed upon the good people of the United States of America." And this comes from Bernie Sanders, a committed Venezuela-style socialist. Now, I'm going to tell you, when a spider can spot a snake, you know the creepy crawlies are all out in force. Now, have full faith that Trump can win the election. Even if some polls predict otherwise, I still believe it. In my prayers, my faith is solid. I'm going to continue to pray for Trump to win. In the 1988 election campaign, for example, go back in your mind and see if you can remember this. Dukakis was leading Bush Sr. by double digits going into September. Yet Bush pulled away and ultimately won. So I have faith that if we beseech God with all our hearts for a Trump victory, Hillary will not stand a chance against the Almighty in her lying, cheating, stealing heart. Her black heart that she so publicly grimaced about, stand out, and people will, for a change, see it. All right, we're going to slowly mosey off into the real topic of our show tonight about faith. I'm going to start out with a little snippet from a JFK speech, and I'm not really sure why it's part of this show tonight, but it deals with the amount of secrecy and deplorability that is going on that is so very awful in our system today. And these are the words of JFK on the speech, in which many believe he was murdered for. The very word secrecy, he said, is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweigh the dangers which are cited to justify it. That seems directly opposed to the things that President Bush done to us after 9/11, the 69,312 laws that were soon enacted. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is a very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. They're about to give the internet away, folks. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it is in my control, and no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the very facts they deserve to know. Now, folks, that come from the lips of JFK. And that should be a very stern warning to us now that we are lawed in. See, ancient Rome fell because their society became a society of nothing but laws. There were so many laws that they became lawed in. Nothing was legal, so nothing could thrive. The elements of evil have came out to play. And we need to meet them with the force of the mission that JFK gave us, and that secrets cannot be hidden or be used to enact more laws that would continuously law us in. George Bush Sr.'s staff also read on day one of his presidency, he read that very speech, and since that date has worked to establish that the military-industrial complex was really to be the secret head of government. I explained in a previous show the chain of command of evil, starting with Lucifer, working its way down through the various mix of names that we all have for such evils. They were the only ones that could keep up with rising Russia and other world military threats. Keep in mind, the UN has tried for many years, being headquartered here, to operate on our soil, to operate its troops on U.S. soil. We would never allow it. But now those same skull and bonesmen want to bring them into your city to patrol with the police so that it's international violations, you can be put in a FEMA camp. This doesn't just apply to America, by the way. It applies to people in Canada and people in Mexico, because Hillary will usher in the new American Union. Even our currency is set to change under Hillary Clinton. It is part of her redux that she will install a currency called the Amero. That's it, Canadians. Get ready to spend you some Ameros. In the society bent toward the microwave mentality of gotta have it now, it would be convenient to me if God armed our brain with a Hillary delete button that would instantly delete the images of her face from our minds. In some sense, at least for me, he has, but not in a New York Minute sort of way. Instead, he's provided a superhighway for sanctification that science is now helping us discover in her quest to change laws and change times. Romans 12:2, Paul urges us not to conform to the pattern of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. Didn't say our pocketbooks, didn't say our money, didn't say our political leaders, it didn't say the world. It said to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. When I was a child, one of the things that pointed me to faith in God, and in fact, it even led me to the altar, because my belief system was slowly built up by my parents. They kept presenting me with obstacles and mental challenges to overcome that included God in each and every one of them. And like I said, when I was a child, the thing that pointed me to this faith was how many brave men. I was a child war nut. I loved battle movies and things of that nature. Everything from Batman, Superman, and Battle of the Bulge, I had to watch it all. And how such brave men in battle could not understand that nothing but God was either with them or he was not. And you could see it on the faces of the ones that God was not with. They would just throw up their hands and the rifles would go one way and bullets would go into their chest and they'd fall over in these vicious moans of agony. But there were many who were called upon by God, who have protected us, who are often the ones that defied all odds and made it out alive. And those are the ones that inspired me to tell you of some of these stories. At age 34, Army Air Force pilot Major Robert Lee Scott Jr. is considered too old to fly in combat, but he's recruited and volunteered to fly in a secret bombing mission from the Philippines against Tokyo, Japanese capital, during World War II. When the mission is canceled after his arrival in India because of the fall of the Philippines, Scott is promoted to colonel and then is assigned to supply transport aircraft, in which he becomes very disparaged. He continues to fly these dangerous unarmed missions, unescorted missions, over the hump from Burma to China in order to supply aviation gasoline and other much-needed supplies to 3 squadrons of the then American volunteer group, the Flying Tigers. And over time, Scott persuades General Chennault, the commander of the Flying Tigers, to let him fly with his experienced airmen like Tex Hill, who have been fighting the Japanese as mercenaries while technically being members of the Chinese Air Force. Scott gets his chance to finally fly one of their Curtiss P-40s, Tomahawks, engaging in aerial combat missions and becoming a double ace while flying with Tigers. Many missions where he prayed, knowing that he was about to die at any time. God be my co-pilot. When I was a child, I was fascinated with all these brave men, and those days were how they are even now when we need them to stand up, when we need these men to stand up for the very last vestiges of our very freedoms that are eroding into the enemy's clutches. Our young people are not getting this message today. We must reinforce the fact that God can do anything, that God can even in the most horrendous of circumstances. We must remember that our nation was founded upon God first, and that the eldest among us can clearly define a time of changing. That somehow, some way in our sick society, suddenly things just changed. In our day, we brought guns to school in the very parking lots, in our trucks and cars. We brought them even into class when asked as part of our education. We never had a single stabbing or shooting in our school. But yet now there is a plot, a deep, decisive plot to bring strong cities into our nation and have UN troops patrol around with the police because we need them so badly. The evil is so pronounced. You see what has changed, what part of our society, what part of our life has literally fallen away. You look back in your own mind, do you not remember a time of peace? Do you not remember that time of serenity that you cannot for the life of you see today? We just put in God first in our life, and we here in our friendships and our prayers and our neighbors and our nation, until you have bled for this nation, either in prayer or in battle. Remember that God is watching us. And although the great falling away has already taken place in our own nation, I want you to know how deeply that God knows that many of us want a return to the good old republic under God. Neighborhoods that you can keep your doors unlocked at night. Children who can stray and play and ride bikes and walk across town uninhibited. In our days now, we see so much hate that we are beginning to get numb to it all. And we must find ways to increase the faith. Faith changes things. And I have made nations, and God has made nations and changed lives. Many of these stories from Iraq prove this in ways you had to have been there to understand, but there are still real men who put on the uniform and believe that doing so to protect and defend our nation and our way of life and whatever is left vitally important. Let's take Colonel Greg Gadsden, the garrison commander at Fort Butler, Virginia. Colonel Gadsden was a Goliath of a man. He played football for West Point. He co-captained his team his senior year. He rose to become a colonel in the United States Army. He served as commander of the U.S. Army 2nd Battalion, 32nd Field Artillery Unit. One day in Baghdad in 2007, he was headed back to base from a memorial service for two soldiers that had fallen from his brigade when an improvised explosive device, IED, detonated under the Humvee that the colonel was riding in. The blast was so powerful that it threw him from the Humvee. Colonel Gaston lost both his legs, literally blown away as he was looking at them in the upside-down Humvee, thinking to himself, although bleeding and blacking in and out, he said, Lord, I am here to do your will. I am here to fight for our nation under God. And if you let me live, Father, I will continue to serve you. Though there were very dark days during his recovery, he reached a point where he was able to say, you cannot understand God's ways. Faith is accepting what we can't know, and that is the first step in moving forward. Forward, he has moved. He went on to earn a second master's degree, acted in the movie Battleship, and returned to active duty with the U.S. Army. He is truly an inspiring person that is one who is willing to try to take us back to those days of true peace. We cannot underestimate the prayer of anyone. We cannot ever underestimate the intensity of the emotions faced by not just our soldiers on the battlefield, but also when they return home. On active duty, they can feel disconnected from family and friends, even now with all the technology available, and emotionally overwhelmed by their experiences in battle. Once home, they often feel isolated from those around them, even those that love and support them, because they lack the shared experience of how to come home from war. Add a physical or psychological injury to this disconnection from life and home, and one can only begin to imagine the depths of the pain experienced by our veterans who still believe in our nation and our freedom. But it extends to so much more than that. There are many who find faith when it is needed most and call God to be the protector and the co-pilot of their lives. Now, I've got about 3 minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and try to get this out. A 14-year-old Michigan resident, James Pearson III. It was a cold January night in 2013 in the town of Shepherd, Michigan. Pearson was watching TV with his 2 younger siblings who were playing in the living room. Their father, Angus Pearson Jr., had just left the house to pick up his fiancée, who was working nearby. What an excitement! Did they know that the next few moments were going to turn out to be? Right after his father left, James heard a loud banging at the door by a panicked woman. As the young boy later described, her voice was like, I could tell she was going to die if I didn't open that door, and God told me to open the door. The woman was a student at Central Michigan University who had been raped brutally by a 30-year-old ex-con, Eric Ramsey. She had clear packing tape wrapped around her entire body and was covered with bruises. James let her in, and after she was safe inside, he locked all the doors, turned out the lights, got a knife, and took everyone to hide in the bathroom. Once in the bathroom, with the smell of smoke and banging, breaking glass, and everyone terrified, James turned to his faith in God, saying out loud, Lord, Lord, you know I'm soon to be a man, and if I'm going to be a man, if I'm going to be a real man, if I'm going to be a man of God, help me now, so that we are safe and that I can do the right thing. Jesus, the rapist, soon found out that God is real. He found out where his victim was hiding, too. Ramsey approached the house and started shouting, let me in or I'll kill everybody. He broke all the glass and was banging on the door, trying with all his might to kick it down. James then went back into the house, and he found a cell phone that he had lost weeks back that was charged up, and he said, thank you, God. And he called his dad, who in turn called 911. Unable to get into the house, Ramsey dosed it with gasoline, lit it on fire, and left. And as the anger rose and the rapist continued to bang and break the living room glass and the fire was everywhere, James stood fast with his little knife, and he told the woman that God told him no one would harm her, that God was protecting them. Angus arrived home just in time and stopped the fire from spreading further with a large extinguisher and firemen and police. I'm going to tell you folks now, before I close tonight, that if you want these miracles, if you want our nation back, if you want Hillary out of the contention, if you want anything good and wholesome and clean and good, you better break out that book and you better start praying. Because it's all coming to a head, and it's coming soon. There's going to be an October surprise. This is Mars, and I'm out of here. Good night. Thank you for tuning in to KW Radio.